Hey, what's up everybody? Today I'd like to make a case for why sports cards are better to be collected through NFTs rather than through physical cards. Now, I'm someone who has skin in the game and experience on both. I have a very large NFT sports card collection through Panini, Topps, and also through NBA Top Shot. But I also have been a collector of physical cards. Now, like many people my age, I have lots of experience collecting cards in the 90s when they were overprinting cards, but also in my adult years I got back into collection and mainly did it through hockey. And so, just to kind of show you, I mainly collected hockey cards, and, for example, here's a Cam Ward numbered out of 10 jersey patch. This is just after they won the Stanley Cup back in 2006. And, just a couple, PSA graded 10 cards. Taylor Hall, Nugent Hopkins, the Edmonton Oilers were my favorite hockey team. I don't really watch hockey much more, but when I was collecting, that's kind of the stuff that I was collecting, mainly PSA or Beckett graded 10, and I also bought some of the packs and, have experience sending cards away for grading as well. And so, I do have experience with both, and I know that there are benefits to both. If you're going to talk about displaying cards, and there is something great about the physical side. I get that. You can build a nice case and put it up like a piece of artwork. That's not that you can't display digital artwork, and you actually can, and we'll get to that. But I'm not saying that there's no benefits on the physical, but the benefits for the NFTs are just so much more, and that's what I'd like to make a case for today, in case you aren't aware of all the benefits of NFTs. Now, the first benefit of NFTs are there are no card defects. Anyone who has sent cards away for grading or has, held them in their hands knows that, the card perfection is what you're looking for. And most cards are not perfect. So for example, this is one card I have, and as you can see, most of them have a 9 or a 9.5, centering 9.5, edges 9, corners 9, surface 9. So these are all different ways that the card can be damaged and that graders look for, and having less than a 10 on any of these brings down the value of the card. But the benefit of NFTs is you have a perfect 10 for everything, and so you never have to worry about it being damaged in the pack, or you ruining it when you're opening it, or it's just there's certain things that you can't even control, like the centering of a card. And so an NFT is a perfect 10 for all of them, and that is one of the benefits of having your sports cards in NFTs. A second benefit is that there's no fraudulent cards. Well, technically there can be, but there are easy ways to mitigate that, through the company who's producing, having a white list. Like, for example, if you go on NBATopShot.com, anything you buy on there is guaranteed to be an official Top Shot moment. There are no way for fraudulent cards to get on their marketplace. Now, something that has a more decentralized marketplace, like for example, the Wax blockchain, if you go on a secondary market like Atomic Hub, where people are able to create their NFTs and to put it up. Technically, they can make a knockoff and sell it, but they also have buttons that you can click for, only show me whitelisted projects, so that only the official, guaranteed to have no fraudulent ones will show up. And so it's easy to mitigate it. Whereas in the physical card market, fraudulent cards, especially when you're dealing with high value cards, are a real thing. And you're always having to risk it, unless it's graded by PSA or Beckett or one of these companies to show its authenticity. If you're not buying a graded card, you always run that risk of is this a legitimate card? Is it a reprint, or is it a fraudulent card? And so that's not a real concern, because all NFTs, you can verify them on the blockchain, which is public record, and that is definitely a huge benefit. A third benefit, and this is one of my favorites, is a centralized card history. Now, this is just so fantastic. Like, I don't know if you have been into physical card collecting, you're probably used to buying, you know, an annual booklet that shows, you know, kind of the different prices. I actually forget maybe who publishes them, but you know, you can buy it, and each year they'll come out and they'll say what each card is worth. And of course, you know, that's not really that helpful. You know, for it to come out once a year, you need kind of more instant, more real-time feedback. And so with a centralized card history, you have the information from who pulled it first in a pack, to who sold it how many times, and what price it was sold for. And that's huge. And so if I'm interested in buying a card, I can see, oh, you know what, this person pulled it and they sold it for 200, and they sold it to the next person for 250, and they sold it to the next one for 325, and I can see, oh, this card has been going up in value. Or, you know, I can, you know, even just say, hey, you know what, this card here was pulled by, you know, this famous person. You know, maybe, you know, for example, in NBA cards, you know, a lot of those players, they buy their own moments, or they buy their own their cards, and it'd be cool to say, oh, you know what, this card was actually owned by the actual player, or you know, this celebrity. And so that's pretty cool. But the main thing is having that centralized history of the price, which is just so beneficial to be able to track that, so that you can have better feedback about the price history and what it might be worth, or you know, if you're getting it at a discount, or if it's, you know, price has been falling or rising. It's just so valuable, and I love that, and you only get that in NFTs. These are some of the Young Guns rookies that I've pulled, and these are just in a cheap case, but these are not graded. And you know, I would have loved them to be graded, but one of the downsides is that you have to pay shipping to send it away to a grader, who also charges you a fee for the grading. And I would also love to move these, but you know, if I'm going to sell them on eBay or secondary market, there's also having to pay shipping costs, which, you know, I either have to pay, or, you know, people factor it into the price, so they'll pay a little less because they know they have to pay shipping. But with NFTs, you're able to transfer your cards for free, and that's a benefit to anyone in the world. No shipping costs, no grading costs. Once again, perfect 10 for everything, transferring it with no shipping. That is only what you get with NFTs. Now, for some physical cards, usually the inserts, you will have sometimes a number. So these ones here are printed out of 100. I know there's only 100. That's helpful information. But how many are of this card here? No one really knows. I mean, there's no number on it, so your guess is as good as mine. And I'm not really sure if the company publishes that information, but even if they do publish information, you're having to take their word for it, because no one really knows. You know, they could easily, you know, print more, or, you know, those could be inaccurate numbers. No one really knows, because it's a physical product and it's centralized. There's no way to verify that. But that's one of the benefits of NFTs. Almost every card I've ever seen is numbered, even the common base cards. And even if they're not numbered, once again, I'm not even aware of a sports card that's not numbered, but even if they weren't numbered, there's a blockchain record. And so we can tell and verify for ourselves exactly how many are out there. And that is a huge benefit. There is no extra printing. You know exactly the number there are, and almost all, or if not all, cards are numbered. And so that gives value even to the base common cards, you know, because they are limited. You know, that's one of the things about cards in the 90s. You know, those, you know, you could keep them for 30 years and they'd still be worthless. They're worthless in packs. They're worthless even when you had them, because, you know, companies were making so much money that they just printed millions of the cards. And there's no way to know how many they were printing, and there was no, you know, checks on that. And so, you know, they were able to just print it, flood the market, and kind of ruin the value for anyone who held them. But on the blockchain, they're not going to get away with that, because, you know, they either number them or we can know exactly how many are printed. And that is a huge benefit of sports cards NFTs. Now, my absolute favorite reason for collecting sports card NFTs over the physical is the fact that the NFTs can have additional utility. And that means that there are extra things that the company can do that you're able to do rather than just looking at the card. You know, there is a quest that you can complete, or a challenge that you can do, you know, or you can burn certain cards to craft others. And so, you know, these are just different things. So if you haven't dipped your toes into this market, let me just give you a couple examples, you know, of ways that this is done. So Topps, for example, they did a burning to craft a special Rideau set. And so what you would do is they would announce, you know, 5 different cards, and if you had those cards in your collection or you bought them on the secondary market, you would burn those cards. And so what that does is that takes them completely off the market. You know, that serial number no longer available. Those cards are actually burnt. And then you would be able to craft a Rideau pack, which would have these special cards that you're only able to get through the crafting. And so that actually reduces the number of base cards because they get burnt, which makes them more scarce, which makes them more valuable, and then you're able to do something new. You're able to get these Rideau cards. Top Shot, it has these quests, and so what you're able to do, for example, you know, during the NBA finals, you know, they would announce, hey, you know what, the top 10 scorers of this game, you know, they would give the list of the top 10 scorers, and so you would put up 7 of the 10 players into a quest, and if you held those for a specific time, usually like 24 hours, you'd have a chance at winning a pack or something like that. Panini, for example, they do, and Top Shot does this too, they do different challenges to where, you know, you would, same thing, you would buy or have a certain amount, maybe like 10 different cards in your collection, and you would hold them until the timer runs out. And if you had them, you get a special card that wasn't available in the packs, and it's minted to the amount of people who completed the challenge. And so these are just different fun things that people can do, adding extra utility to your NFTs that you just don't get from the physical product. When you have the physical product, it's just there to look at and to trade, but you don't get to do additional things for it. You're not able to squeeze additional value to where you're able to acquire extra cards. That's only available if you collect your sports cards in NFTs. Another benefit of sports card NFTs is that they don't have to be 2D static. Companies are able to do extra things. For example, if it's just a card, you know, Topps has done this and Panini has done this, they can add animation to it to, you know, maybe you can have kind of the borders, you know, turning. Topps has a cube that kind of flips around. And then you can also have sound and video. And, you know, Top Shot is obviously, you know, very good with the video. They're doing moments, which are video clips as opposed to actual physical cards. But, you know, the possibilities are endless for companies who do sports card NFTs. You can add animation, you can add sound, you can, you know, you can add video, you can do all these different things. And so there's more creativity that they're able to have in producing the NFTs rather than the physical counterpart. And then the final reason that I prefer to collect sports cards NFTs as opposed to the physical counterpart, and this really hits the financial feasibility aspect of it, is that you have a worldwide audience of buyers. And that this is, you know, probably one of the most frustrating things is that, you know, if you have a physical collection, you're typically either limited to sell to people, you know, that are in your hometown, in your city, or maybe every once in a while they have, you know, or they rent out a conference center to where, you know, collectors can meet up and trade. Or if you have to go the, you know, eBay route, then you have to, you know, pay fees for shipping, which kind of is de-incentivizing it. But with NFTs, you have a worldwide wide audience of buyers who you're able to send to, once again, with no shipping costs, instantaneously. You don't have to wait for a package to arrive, shipping it across the world. You know, you can sell to somebody as quickly in America as China or as Japan, wherever you want. And so also having that worldwide audience of buyers increases the liquidity so that there are more buyers available, that you're able to move your cards faster and easier. And so those are my reasons of why I like to collect NFTs as opposed to physical. Now, I'm completely done on the physical side. Whatever cards that I have, I'm going 100% in NFTs. I'm not really trying to disparage those who collect physical. I understand that there are people who have a physical bias. There's people who love gold over Bitcoin and they don't like Bitcoin because you can't touch it. There's people who like reading paperback books and won't touch an ebook because they want to hold something in their hands. And the same goes with cards. You know, people want to actually hold it and to pass it into somebody else's hand and you know, build something that they can put on their wall. By the way, should mention that first, that there are digital displays so that you can actually put, you know, Top Shot moments on your wall or on your desk, or, you know, display a physical a card. So there are ways for digital displays, but, you know, I understand that it's kind of newer tech and more expensive. So, you know, physical is definitely easy for displaying. But yeah, so I'm not trying to disparage those who do want to do, you know, a little of both, or who do collect physical. But I think, you know, a lot of the upside is in NFTs. I also think a lot of, as I've displayed, a lot of the benefits are with NFTs. I think they have the most room to grow. And I do think over the coming years and decades that NFTs are going to continue to take market share away from physical. Now, I don't think the physical is going to be gone. Like, I do think that will always be around. But, you know, the same as what has happened, and I don't think it's going to hit it quite as bad as, you know, the CD and the Blu-ray. Obviously, you know, digital has obliterated that market. You know, Netflix started out in physical DVDs. Now they're a 100% streaming company. I don't necessarily think, at least in the near term, that we're going to go 100% you know, NFTs, but I do think that it's going to continue to take more and more market share because the benefits are just so high, and it's so easy, and it's so fun, you know, with the utility. It makes sports collecting really, really fun. And so, you know what? Hopefully I've convinced you to get into sports card NFTs. If you're looking to get going, once again, Panini is doing it, NBA Top Shot is doing it, Topps MLB is doing it, you know, and I'm sure other companies will join in the future. So anyways, guys, hopefully that was helpful. Would love to hear a comment from you on what you thought, and if you are 100% into one or the other, splitting it, your collection, or are going to make a decision to switch one to the other, let me know in the comment section. Thanks so much.